welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be discussing the all-new RS17 as Renault have finally launched their 2017 Challenger today here at Enstone. It is a very exciting new era for Renault Formula 1, as obviously despite the success in Formula E, they're not delivering in the pinnacle of motorsport, or what's viewed as the pinnacle of motorsport in that of Formula 1, with Mercedes wiping the floor. And last year was certainly a struggle for Renault, but it does have to be said that last year's car was essentially a Lotus with a Renault power unit bolted and a Renault livery. So they're definitely starting now to move in the right direction, as Nico Hülkenberg has now come on board. Obviously, he's been in Formula 1 for umpteen years in a midfield team and sees this as a huge opportunity to make the step from the midfield into a front-running team. But obviously, this is a manufacturer we're talking about in Renault. Renault's true championship credentials, with Fernando Alonso winning the 2005 and 2006 championships with them, and have won many more championships as being an engine supplier with Red Bull, with Williams over the past. So definitely Renault have the potential to once again triumph at the top of Formula 1. But this is going to take time. It's a process. They've been talking about these kind of things today, when people like BP and Castrol coming on board is very promising. Alain Prost is now in an advisory role at Renault Formula 1 team, as well as obviously in the more generic Formula E program. People like Bob Bell as being head designer, and Cyril Abiteboul, the team principal of Renault. All very kind of forward-looking, very progressive kind of mindset moving forward, which is what you want. But anyway, that's the kind of the preamble, if you like, to Renault's journey ahead of this 2017 season. Now let's get into the analysis. I do apologise before we start. We're looking to the right, but I've got a picture of the Renault to me right on my other monitor, so I'll be looking in that direction, so do apologise. But if we look at the front wing section to start with, you can see it's in a boomerang style shape like that of Sauber. It looks like these new regulations have kind of forced the team to not be going so much for an oblong front wing, and more so to a boomerang front wing, like we saw back in 2005 and 2006, with those kind of front wing nose sections coming on board, which obviously is more aerodynamic, as it cuts through the air quicker and easier, and allows cornering to be done at higher speeds, as the air is more able to navigate past the wing compared to well, if you imagine, if you go kind of at an angle into something, you can go in it much faster than if you go straight in. Like, this is a really horrible example, but if you stab yourself, you can cut in much more at an angle than if you go straight in. It's much more difficult to go straight in if you use the edge of the knife, for instance. But anyway, that's slightly off topic. Then if we look at the front wing itself, it's definitely more complex than the Sauber that was launched yesterday. It's got much more fins to it, and you've got cross sections going up and down the front wing, as well as across the front wing section, which allows more downforce to be generated. As it cuts through the car, it can corner faster and is more aerodynamically efficient as a result of these extra components on the car. So that perhaps gives slightly more indication that this is perhaps a Renault prototype kind of part that they're going to use in Barcelona. Maybe the Sauber was just kind of a spec kind of spec part, and they're going to swap that at Barcelona. But who knows? Certainly from these images you can tell that the Renault, there's a little more going on. It's about the same kind of quality as the Williams. The Williams is generating the downforce in different ways, as this has got more slot gaps than the Williams had, compared to the Williams that have more ripples at the bottom of the front wing. Then if we look at the fin, there's very prominent and poking out at the kind of the cusp of the nose end. That is to generate more airflow past the tyre and go towards the suspension rather than hitting the bulk of the tyre, which is obviously very big and very heavy, and that's where the mass is of the front end of the car. And if you can direct the airflow away from that, obviously it has a large surface area, and if all the air is directed there, then that's going to slow you down in the corners. Then past the front wing and so on. Obviously I talked about the brakes. The brakes are still quite large on the Renault, actually. They're much larger than they were on the Sauber. Obviously I'm going to be doing a bit of comparison between Renault and Sauber, because there's the only two proper launches. Obviously Williams launches properly tomorrow. I should have said on the video on Sunday that was a soft launch compared to a proper launch that's going to happen tomorrow. Anyway, back to the Renault. It's, as I said, the brakes are much larger in their size compared to that of the Sauber, but that's just kind of their mechanical design outputs. They're generating lap time in other ways. And then if we look a little further back towards where the driver is sitting, you then have the mirrors and the side pod. The side pod is a finer package than what we got in the Sauber, and you can see aerodynamic tweaks going on there. As the carbon fibre bollard sticking out, it has vents in it to direct the airflow again away from the rear of the car. Now is where we're looking towards. As the air is coming out, it's a nice tight package, which means that they've done good work with the engine in terms of packaging and capability. As the Renault and the Red Bull were a little bit wider at the rear compared to Mercedes and Honda last year, so they've done well in terms of the packaging capabilities. And then, as I say, towards the rear, that side pod, and then the dimples in the floor. Again, like we saw with the Sauber yesterday, we have the dimples in the floor to try and direct the airflow away from the rear of the tyre. And like, again, the Sauber, sorry, I've used that phrase about 3 times in the past minute, but we have a shark fin on the top of the car in order to generate more downforce and to make it more efficient. A bit like the end plates, you know, if you have a point, that is more efficient, it means you can cut through the air more easily compared to if you have a curve. As I say, with the knife example, you know, you can if something's pointy, you can go through faster than if something is curvy or straight. But obviously, if you have a block, then that is the worst possible thing. If you have like a block end compared to a point is much better than a block end, which is kind of the worst shape to be moving through something out. Then if we look to the top of the car, first of all you see the airbox. The airbox is divided actually into 3 bits. So that is to make it more efficient, as it cuts through. The Sauber was in 2 bits, this is in 3 bits. So that takes it to another extreme of trying to be more efficient as the air flows over the car, and also it kind of suggests the characteristics of the engine. Obviously there have been reports that Renault have been doing a lot of work, and suggest that they should be not too far off. Obviously 2017 Mercedes are going to not stand still over the winter in terms of the engine department and Ferrari. They should be about Mercedes and Ferrari pace. Obviously it'll be interesting to see what Honda's done, because they've completely redesigned their power unit, so that should be fun. But we'll have to wait till Friday to talk about them. So the airbox means it's more efficient, and you can flow and they can flow more efficiently, and the car cuts through the air much better. And the rear wing, it's more aggressive. Actually, the turbine exhaust, but the actual wing shape, and it's nice and pointy. If you're looking at the back of the car, you won't be able to see it from these pictures, but obviously, I imagine if you've got here, you're probably quite familiar. If you have a look on Google, then if you look at the back of the car, then you can see it's much more pointy, it's much more dancing, and as I say, with the end points, it means that it's more efficient and it cuts through the air much easier. So that's my review. Overall, I think it's a great package that Renault have put together. They really put a lot of hard work. This has been Renault's first kind of own built car since since 2009. So that's a long time. So not since 2009. Do excuse me, since 2011. So that's been a fairly long time, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's happening. Obviously, Nico Hulkenberg, a very highly rated driver, alongside Jolyon Palmer. Palmer's still learning, kind of underperformed last year considering he's a GP2 champion, but we'll have to see what he can do this year and what the RS17 is capable of. And targeting top 5 in the constructors, so let's see if that is a possibility. But overall, they put together a really good, solid package. And if the power unit is delivering what they say it's delivering, along with this package, then they can have a really good year. So, thank you for watching the video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and goodbye.